तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुताः पदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा. So welcome all of you all for our weekly Gita class. So till now we have been discussing certain themes from the Gita. We did the Journey of Self Discovery course, a 6-session course. Then we did from ritual to spiritual, one session we did on chanting, like that. So now, because we have been doing these sessions for quite some time now, so I thought we can actually get into the Bhagavad Gita a little more systematically. So today, before we get into chapter 1, there is something called the Gita Mahatmya. You all can open Bhagavad Gita, page 28. Page 28, 28. So this is the introduction of Srila Prabhupada, the Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada quotes something called the Gita Mahatmya. So Gita Mahatmya, you all have got page 28? The last line, in conclusion, that's where I'm going to do from. So Gita Mahatmya is basically written by Adi Shankaracharya. Mahatmya means glories. Before we get into Bhagavad Gita, we need to understand what are the glories of Bhagavad Gita, how one should read Bhagavad Gita, what are the benefits of Bhagavad Gita. Isn't it? Before you do anything, you first find out now what are the benefits, what will I gain, how should I get into that subject. So similarly, Bhagavad Gita is a very, very important subject for all of us. Now I generally tell people, when you go through problems in life, we have learned a lot of subjects in school now. We have learned maths, geography, chemistry. So when you go through problems in life, which subject will help you? Maths will help you, chemistry will help you, biology will help you. None of these subjects will help you. None of these books will help you. But Bhagavad Gita is a book that can actually help us. So this is the life manual. The other things you use to solve some practical issues here and there. But when you experience life issues, Bhagavad Gita is the book that we need to refer to. So Bhagavad Gita is a very, very important book. And Adi Shankaracharya in these few shlokas of Gita Mahatmya explains the glories of Bhagavad Gita, how to read and so forth. So Prabhupada explains here, in conclusion, Bhagavad Gita is a transcendental literature which should be read very carefully. So Bhagavad Gita is not an ordinary book. This is Krishna in the form of a book. Right? When Krishna comes in the form of a deity, deities of Krishna, it is Krishna in the form of a deity. Similarly, when Krishna comes in the form of a book, Krishna is called Bhagavad Gita. So this book is transcendental. It is not a material book. And how one should read, Prabhupada writes here, how one should read Bhagavad Gita? What does Prabhupada say? Very carefully. One read Bhagavad Gita, how? Very carefully. So that means every line, every word is important. Just like when you prepare for an exam, like how do students really prepare? They really They read it very carefully, especially someone who wants to pass. I mean, someone who wants to really do well, he'll do it very carefully. So this book, we explained in our Journey of Self-Discovery course. What is the examination for all of us? Huh? No. Bhakti is the syllabus. What is the examination for all of us? No. No, what is the examination? Oh, no. No. Death is the examination. Death. Death is the examination for all of us. That's the exam. So, who will pass that exam? Death is an examination. You pass the exam means what? What does passing death mean? Huh? You die, yeah, but what happens after that? Yeah, you go back to the spiritual world. That means you have passed the examination of death. What does it mean if you have failed? That means you come back again. You're getting it? So death is certainly going to come. And death is such an examination, it is a surprise test. In school you have surprise test. Surprise test means you don't know when it will come. See, when you are sure of an exam that it's going to come in 6 months, you have time to prepare. But death is going to come at any time. So one has to be prepared. So just like to crack any examination, you have a syllabus. So Bhagavad Gita is the syllabus for all of us. If we read these books well, we'll be able to confidently face these examinations in life. Death is like the main examination. But other than that, we have small examinations, na? Don't we go through small examinations in life? Every day is an examination. So to pass these examinations, this book is very, very important. So Prabhupada is saying here, one should read it very carefully. Gita Shastram idam punyam yapate prayata puman. If one follows the instructions of Bhagavad Gita properly, and it continues ahead in page 29, one can be freed from all miseries and anxieties of life. Bhaya shokadi varjita. So what is the benefit of reading Gita? First we saw how to read Gita. How to read Gita? By, do you have an extra copy of Gita for madam? She'll give you a copy. So we are doing systematic study of Gita. So all of you all are students, including myself. So it's important that we come to class with study book. I'm just joking. Yeah. I'm just kidding. As a teacher, I have some right to speak. Yeah. So if we read Gita very carefully, what will be the result? Bhaya shokadi varjita. Varjita means free. We'll be free from bhaya. What is bhaya? Fear. What is shoka? Sorrow. Adi means etc. In this material world, there is fear, sorrow, anxiety, so many things. You can go on and on. We will experience freedom from all this by reading Bhagavad Gita. You may say, how is it possible? You have to do it, then only you will understand. Like you go to a doctor and a doctor gives you a medicine. You ask him, how does it work? Don't apply your brains too much. You don't have to understand which chemical is going to get secreted when, which will affect the lung, liver. Just take it with faith. So if we do this study of Bhagavad Gita properly, in a very nice mode, in a mood of bhakti. So today only we were discussing from Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's a very interesting story. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he goes to a place called Sri Rangam. You all know Sri Rangam? South India, there's a place called Sri Rangam. Very beautiful place. Ranganathji deity is there. Sri Rangam in those days, this story is like 500 years ago. Now also, but even in those days, Sri Rangam was the headquarters of learning. Lot of Sanskrit scholars there. So there was one particular Brahmana who was an illiterate. He didn't know Sanskrit. But he was reading Gita there. How do you read Gita Sanskrit without knowing Sanskrit? So all the other Brahmanas were laughing at him. This fellow doesn't know Gita. But while reading Gita, he had tears in his eyes. He was experiencing a lot of emotion and a lot of love. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, Baba, you don't understand anything of Gita. You're not able to read Gita. Why are you crying? So he said, my Guru told me to read Gita every day. My spiritual master told me to read Gita every day. Even though I'm illiterate, I'm just following his instruction. And because I'm following it, whenever I read Gita, I can see Krishna I can see Krishna, that image of Krishna driving the chariot of Arjuna. And when I see that, automatically I feel so much love and affection for Krishna. So Mahaprabhu told him, you have actually understood Bhagavad Gita. Even though he was not a scholar, because he was reading Bhagavad Gita in a very devotional mode, he could understand the essence of Gita. So Gita has to be read in the terms in which Krishna wants us to read. So Krishna doesn't want us to read Gita only as a scholar. So we read it attentively for sure, but we are not reading it only for some information. We are reading it for purification of our heart. We are reading it to please Krishna. So when you do it in this mode, this book is magical. This book can create transformations in lives. Srila Prabhupada, he started this ISKCON movement based on these books. Just by reading these books, so many people, forget Indians, so many Westerners have transformed their lives. So these books are as powerful as Krishna. So this is the first benefit of reading Gita. So we saw how to read Gita very carefully, in a very devotional mode. And if you do it, the benefit is we'll be freed from anxiety, misery, sorrow, and all this. The next shloka, Gita Mahatmya says, Gita dhyayana shilasya pranayama parasya cha naiva santi hi papani purva janma kritani cha. Again, please hear the translation. If one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, so again, two words important, sincerely and seriously. What does sincerely mean? What do you understand by word sincerity? From the heart, correct? With devotion. And sincerity.
Not like a book, but like a...
No distractions in the mind.
No distractions in mind. All this is correct, yeah. With devotion, with no distractions in mind. Not like a book, but as a scripture. And also sincerity, I would say, means consistency. If you're sincere, you'll be consistent in it. Whom will you call a sincere student? Who's a sincere student? Who studies every day. Who does his homework. He does all these things. He comes to classes on time. He doesn't miss his classes. Sign of sincerity. Yeah. It's a sign of sincerity. I mean, who doesn't have work? Everyone is busy. Everyone has their own world. And who doesn't have problems? And we all have. So sign of sincerity means Tuesday 5:30 you drop for the class. That means you're sincere. Yeah, Vijayji is sincere, yeah. Nidhi has to be sincere because it's her house. So she's intelligent. She's done it here. So the point is, sincerity means you're there for the classes, you're showing up for the classes. You open the Gita every day, try to read. Even though you may not understand it initially, still you try. A sincere student, just because he doesn't understand, he doesn't give up his studies. I can't do it. He tries. He consults others if he can't understand. He makes notes. So this is a sign of sincerity. So if you read Gita sincerely, seriously, then what will happen? By the grace of Krishna, ultimately purification of heart will happen by Krishna's grace. But Krishna's grace will come on whom? When Krishna sees that someone is putting effort. When you put effort, then Krishna's grace will come. In Krishna Leela, there is one pastime called Damodar Leela. You all know this story? The story is like this. Krishna was a very mischievous child. Right? So Krishna would steal butter. Krishna would go to everyone's house and steal butter. So one day Krishna stole butter in his own house. What happens when Krishna would steal butter? All the gopis in Vrindavan would come and tell Yashoda, your Krishna stole butter in our house. And every time Yashoda would go to punish Krishna, Krishna would show a very innocent face. Krishna is very expert in acting also. So Yashoda wouldn't do anything. So one day on the day of Diwali, Krishna stole butter in his own house. And he broke pots and he did like a huge mess. So Yashoda got so angry, she decided, I have to teach Krishna a lesson. He's getting too spoiled. So Yashoda caught Krishna and there was one grinding mortar. In traditional days, women grind spices on a grinding mortar. Now though it doesn't happen like that. But this is traditional village days. So she tied Krishna to this grinding mortar. Punishment for you. So when she was tying Krishna, every time she got ropes, the ropes were 2 finger short. मतलब exactly 2 उँगली छोटा. How much ever rope she got, it was 2 finger short. She got like unlimited ropes from so many cows, still 2 finger short. What does this 2 finger represent? 2 finger represents two things. One is our effort, the first finger, and the second is God's grace. So tying Krishna means understanding Krishna, understanding Bhagavad Gita. Who can understand Gita? Who can understand Krishna? First, you have to put effort. When you put effort, which is in your hand, then Krishna's grace will come, which is the second finger. When both come together, then your understanding will be perfect. You understanding? So the point is, when we sincerely and seriously read Gita, then what happens? By the grace of Krishna, naiva santihi papani purva janma kritani cha. All your past reactions are destroyed. Whatever karma we have done, whatever bad things we have done, everything will be destroyed. And Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita 18.66, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma suchah. Anyone can read the translation of it? A little loudly. Yeah, you can read.
Sarvadharma.
You can read the translation below that in English.
All varieties of religion and just surrender under me. I shall deliver you all sinful reactions.
Do not fear. Exactly. So Krishna is saying, if you surrender unto me, I will take care of all your reactions. Do not fear. Krishna will take responsibility. So Prabhupada writes here, read the next line.
Thus, the Lord takes all responsibility for one who surrenders under him, and he indemnifies such a person against all reactions of sin.
Exactly. So if you surrender to Krishna, then Krishna will take responsibility of our life. So Krishna will say, okay, whatever is done, I will take care. So if we read Bhagavad Gita sincerely and seriously, how sincerely, seriously, result is, benefit is, all sinful reactions will gone. So first we saw, we will experience freedom from misery, anxiety, fear. Now the next advantage of reading Gita is, all the sinful reactions will go. The third shloka of Gita Mahatmya, Mala nirmochana pumsam jalasnanam dine dine sakrit gitamritam snanam samsara malanashanam. So we all take bath every day, correct? Why do we take bath every day?
Cleanse us.
Yeah, because we get dirty every day, na? Is it okay to take bath once a year? Is it a good idea?
If you're British, maybe.
Yeah, but ideally you should be able to take bath every day. In fact, Brahmanas, generally they take bath thrice a day. 3 times a day. So point is, why do you take bath every day? Because just staying in this world, you get dirty. You have to cleanse yourself. So now the bath is for the body. So how do we bathe the soul? By reading Bhagavad Gita. So just like every day you go and take bath, and after bath, how do we feel? We feel fresh, active, right? So similarly, that same feeling, much more on a much level, we will experience by reading Gita. It's the cleanse of the soul. This is an internal cleanse that is happening. So by chanting Hare Krishna, by reading Gita, the Atma is taking bath. Atma also has impurities, na? Lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion. We saw this in our self-discovery course. These are impurities in our heart. So how can we clean our heart? One is by chanting Hare Krishna, other is by reading Gita. So it says here, Sakrit Gitamritam Snanam Samsara Malanashanam. Even if one reads Gita once, with lot of faith and devotion, Samsara Malanashanam. Being in this world, so much impurity of samsara, everything is destroyed. This is the next advantage of reading Gita. The fourth shloka of Gita Mahatmya, Gita su Gita kartavya kim manye shastra vistare sakrit gitamritam snanam Ya swayam padmanabhasya mukha padmad vinishrita. So it says here, Gita su Gita kartavya anye shastra vistare. So it says here, Bhagavad Gita is more than enough. Why you have to, any other scripture means there is no need to read so many other books also. See, in the market there are an unlimited number of books, and every now and then you go, you'll find 20, 100 more books added up. So many people come and keep writing books. So you read all these books, that's good. Some information you will get, but this book is so important. The other books in this world are written by some mortal of this world. Gita is spoken by Krishna. Swayam Padmanabhasya Mukha Padman Vinishrita. Krishna is called Padmanabh. The Supreme Lord is spoken from his mouth. So how important this book is. So you can't equate Gita with the books of this world. There is no comparison only. This is absolute truth and those are relative books. Relative truth. Absolute truth and relative truth, there's a big difference. So therefore it says, it is not necessary to read any other books. Prabhupada says here, one need only attentively and regularly read Bhagavad Gita. In the present, people are absorbed in mundane activities and for them to read all Vedic literature is not possible. This one book, Bhagavad Gita, is sufficient because it is the essence of all Vedic literatures. Vedas is huge body of knowledge, lakhs of shlokas in Vedas. Kali Yuga people, it's very difficult. So that same Krishna, who is the compiler of the Vedas, has given Bhagavad Gita, only 700 shlokas. This Bhagavad Gita, you'll get it, this is the essence of all the Vedas. Just like, jackfruit. You all have eaten jackfruit? In Goa you get. Have you all any time cut jackfruit?
Oh, very difficult.
It's difficult to cut. Right? You have to put oil in your hand and you have to do a lot of things. Isn't it? But if someone does all the cutting for you and he's removed the fruit and removed the seed and given you, how will you feel? Great. You have to just put it in the mouth. So Vedas is like that huge jackfruit. You have to understand Sanskrit, cut, find out, remove that essence. Big task. So Krishna understood people in Kali Yuga can't do this. So Krishna has removed the essence of the Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, the fruit, and given us. What we have to do? He does eat it. But we are not able to do that also. Right? Krishna has made it so simple, but we are not able to do that. So we have to try to understand this. The next shloka it says, Bharatamrita sarvasvam Vishnurvaktad vinishritam Gita gangotakam pitva punarjanmana vidyate. So Ganga, one who drinks Ganga water or one who takes bath in Ganga water is completely purified. Isn't it? Ganga is a very holy river. Just by taking bath in Ganga, drinking Ganga water, one is purified. Why one is purified by drinking Ganga water? Huh? Holy river. But how does Ganga become holy? Anyone knows? Where does Ganga originate from? Shivji's head. But before Shivji's head, from where she comes? She comes from the Swarga to Shivji's head, no? From where she comes? Gangotri is this world. Huh? Okay. So I can give you a 1 hour class on the origin of Ganga. It's a long story, but I'll tell you how it is. Right? So there was one avatar of Krishna called Vaman Dev. You all heard Vaman avatar? So there was Kurma avatar, Vaman avatar, Matsya avatar. So Vaman avatar, he comes as a small Brahmana boy. He is the son of Kashyapan Aditi. Kashyapuni and Aditi. So why does the Lord come? Because Bali Maharaj, this is a story in the scriptures, Bali was the king of the demons. So Bali had overpowered Indra and he had taken over Swarga. So Indra and all the demigods go to Vishnu, please help us. So the Lord comes as Vamana, as a Brahmana, and he goes to Bali. So Bali is a king. So generally, even kings, even demonic kings would give charity to Brahmanas. So the Lord goes as a Brahmana and tells Bali, please give me 3 steps of land. Bali is the king of the 3 worlds. Swarga, everything belongs to him. But Vamandev goes and tells, no, give me 3 steps of land. So Bali says, okay, take. So immediately Vamandev takes a huge form, such a huge form. In 2 steps, he covers the entire universe. So when he takes this huge step on top, his toe, the nail of his toe, opens the covering of the universe. If you all remember, in our Journey of Self-Discovery course, I explained to you a little about the universal structure. So every universe is called Brahmand. It's in the shape of an egg. And there is covering of the universe. And beyond this universe is a causal ocean called Karana Sagar ya Virja Nadi. There's a causal ocean. These universes float in that ocean. So when Vamandev's leg pierces the covering, water from that Virja Nadi comes down into the universe. That's Ganga. So Ganga is basically Charanamrit of Vishnu. Ganga is washing the feet of Vishnu and coming. So it is called the Charanamrit of Vishnu. Another name of Ganga is Vishnu Padi. She is the water from the feet of Vishnu. And then she comes to Swarga, and then Bhagirath Muni finally brings Ganga to this earth, and then Shivji takes it on his head. The story is like that. So Ganga can purify the world. Why? Because she is coming from the feet of Vishnu. Bhagavad Gita is coming from where? From the mouth of the Lord. So if Ganga can purify, imagine how powerful Bhagavad Gita will be. Because Bhagavad Gita is coming directly from the mouth of the Supreme Lord. So just like you people are eager to go and take bath in Ganga, more important than that is to hear and take bath every day in the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. You are getting this point? So very beautiful set of shlokas and meanings. Next shloka, text 6, very beautiful shloka. Sarva Upanishado Gavo Dogda Gopala Nandana Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gita Mritam Mahat. If all the Upanishads, there are many Upanishads, 108 Upanishads and all the Vedic literatures. So Shankaracharya is giving an analogy. He is giving an example here. You can visualize this. If all the Vedic literatures are like a cow, what is the essence of the cow? Milk. Right? The essence of cow is milk. Now to milk a cow, you need 2 people. Who are the 2 people to milk the cow? You need 2 entities to milk the cow. Who are they? Exactly. You need a calf and you need a cowherd boy. Without the calf, the cow will not give milk. You need a calf and you need a cowherd boy. So here, if all the Vedas are compared to a cow, who is the cowherd boy here? Krishna. And who is the calf? Arjuna. So Krishna is milking the Vedic literatures, milking this cow of the Vedas and giving that essence. And that essence is the milk which is compared to Bhagavad Gita. Sarva Upanishado Gavo. If all the Upanishads are like a cow, Dogda Gopal Nandana. The cowherd boy is Krishna. Partho Vatsa. Who is the Vatsa? Who is the calf here? Partha, Arjuna. Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gita Mritam Mahat. And what is milk? Bhagavad Gita, which is the most nectarian milk. Just like when you drink milk, if you have like original cow milk, just by drinking 1 glass of cow milk, you can feel very healthy and nourished. So similarly, Bhagavad Gita, if you have it original, as it is, in a pure form, hearing from pure sources, that 1 class of Bhagavad Gita or 1 reading of Bhagavad Gita can nourish you spiritually. Just like, if you have like real quality milk, 1 glass, you don't need a certificate from anyone else to tell you that you are satisfied. You will feel satisfied yourself. So Bhagavad Gita is like that. If you read it properly through right sources, you will feel very nourished, very strong spiritually. So in this example, Shankaracharya is comparing Bhagavad Gita to the milk, which is the essence of all Vedic literatures. And then finally he says, Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva Eko Mantras Tasya Namani Yani Karmapi ekam tasya devasya seva. So Prabhupada explains, in this world everyone wants unity, na? Everyone wants one world, one India, right? Everyone wants unity. That's why United Nations, Prabhupada would often joke, United Nations is made, but every now and then a new flag gets added up. New flag matlab kya? One country has become two. Fight has happened and country has become two. So United Nations, how will it happen? When you are united on one forum. And Shankaracharya is giving us this formula. If the whole world wants one unity, so then there has to be one God, one scripture, one religion, one occupation, one mantra. Who is that one God? What is that one scripture first? Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam. There's only one scripture like that, that's the topmost. That is the Gita, which is spoken by Krishna. Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva. There's only one God actually. That is Krishna, Devaki is son. Eko Mantrastasya Namani Ani. There is only one mantra that can unite the entire world. And what is that? The Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This one mantra has united the entire world. The same mantra people from every country are chanting. They are united on this one platform. Karmapi ekam tasya devasya seva. And all of us, we actually have only one work, one occupation. And what is that? Devasya seva, serving Krishna, serving the Lord. That's our most important duty. We keep doing other duties, but the most important duty for all of us is to serve God. That's what we have come for. We are born to actually serve the Supreme. So in this way, Adi Shankaracharya explains the glories of Bhagavad Gita, how to read Bhagavad Gita, what are the benefits of reading Bhagavad Gita. Did you all like this verses? Very beautiful set of verses, Adi Shankaracharya's. So now we'll actually get into the Gita. This was like an introduction for all of you. In the next page, you all can see the disciplic succession. Na? Can you all see it in the next page? Can you see it? So that's our Guru Shishya Parampara. So for those who feel that Srila Prabhupada has written his own Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada doesn't give his own understanding. So this is Guru Shishya Parampara. This is called Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. ISKCON belongs to Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So Krishna gives this knowledge to Brahma. You all can look in the book. Brahma gives this knowledge to Narada. Narad Muni gives this knowledge to Vyasdev. Vyasdev to Madhvacharya, Padmanabh, Narahari, Madhava, Akshobhya Tirtha, Jaya Tirtha, Jnana Sindhu, Dayanidhi, Vidyanidhi, Rajendra, Jayadharma, Purushottama, Brahmanya Tirtha, Vyasa Tirtha, Lakshmipati, Madhavendra Puri, Ishwara Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Roop Sanatan, Raghunath Das, Krishnadas, Narottam Das, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Baladev, Jagannath, Das Babaji Maharaj, Bhakti Vinod, Gaur Kishore Das, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and then Srila Prabhupada. So this Bhagavad Gita is called as it is because Prabhupada is writing what he has learned from his superiors. So that is the way of presenting Gita. Like when I am speaking Gita, I am not speaking my understanding of Gita. I am speaking what I have learned from proper sources. So you will, when you read Gita like this in a proper source, the same transformation that Arjuna experienced, you will experience the same thing. Because it's coming in an undiluted fashion. It's coming in an undiluted fashion. Everything is, in its very pure form. So that's why Prabhupada has given the disciplic succession. Okay? So we'll just discuss something of the first verse. The first verse itself is long. Just to give you a little idea of, getting into the Bhagavad Gita basically. So this was just the introduction and the glories of Bhagavad Gita. So the first chapter, okay, before we get into it, Bhagavad Gita has total 18 chapters. 18 chapters in total. So the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is called Observing the Armies on the Battlefield. In Sanskrit, this is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. In Sanskrit. So the first chapter is basically Arjuna Gita in one sense. The first chapter Krishna hardly speaks. Arjuna is only. So as long as Arjuna is speaking, Krishna is quiet. You speak. After you finish, I will start. So Krishna is also teaching here the art of listening. So before we speak something, it's also important that we listen. So when that person has spoken everything, then he is ready to hear from you. Then you start. So Krishna is like an expert teacher, an expert counselor. So Krishna patiently hears Arjuna. When Arjuna is finished speaking everything, then Krishna says, okay. And that too, Krishna doesn't start to speak. Only when Arjuna tells Krishna, my dear Krishna, now you speak, then only he starts. Right? So this is the mood of Krishna. So the first shloka of Gita, you all can repeat this shloka after me. Dhritarashtra uvacha Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsava Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kimma Kurvata Sanjaya. We'll repeat it again. So today's lesson is you all should by heart this shloka. Dhritarashtra uvacha. You all have to chant a little loudly. In our Vedic Gurukul time, our Gurukul system, the Guru would make the children chant these shlokas again and again and they would learn it. Yeah. So in Gurukul, traditionally in an Indian Gurukul, children wouldn't have notebooks. They wouldn't go with notebooks. They would keep repeating and they would learn it by heart. That was Gurukul system. Therefore, our Vedic scriptures are called Shruti, that which is learned by hearing. So hear attentively, you will be able to chant. Dhritarashtra uvacha Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsava Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kimma Kurvata Sanjaya. Good. Once again, loudly. Dhritarashtra uvacha Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsava Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kimma Kurvata Sanjaya. Good, thank you. Anyone can read loudly the translation? Just the thing written in bold. Yeah? Sirishali, yeah.
Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the son of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do?
So this is the first shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Just like you have in cricket, you have opening batsman. So in Bhagavad Gita, the opening batsman is Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra comes and speaks the first shloka. So Dhritarashtra is asking Sanjay. Sanjay is his secretary. He is asking Sanjay, oh my dear Sanjay, after my sons, the Kauravas, and the sons of Pandu, the Pandavas, assembled in Kurukshetra, which is a very holy place, what did they do? So in what?
They are ready to fight.
They are ready to fight. So in one sense, it apparently appears a very foolish question. Like you say, two people have assembled in a war field. What will they do? They'll fight only. They are not born to kiss each other there. It's not a romance place, right? It's a place they're going to fight. So it's understood that both these people are going to fight. Why is Dhritarashtra is asking this question? Even though apparently it appears like a very simple question, there's a different thought process going on in his mind. There's a whole psychology behind it. So Bhagavad Gita and all these books teach you a lot of human psychology also, right? So I'll explain to you what it is. But because it's just the start of Gita, I just wanted to touch a little into the storyline of the Kauravas and Pandavas. So you all understand why why this question is asked and why this war actually is starting to happen. Why did the family members getting into this fight? So Mahabharat, what does Mahabharat mean? Anyone knows? What is Mahabharat actually?
One family.
Greater India.
Exactly. So Bharat is India, Mahabharat is Greater India. So Mahabharat is the story or the history of Greater India. So India, all of us know already by now, right? Before 1947, India was much bigger. Pakistan, Bangladesh, and all this was India, correct? Before that, India was much beyond it. So this story, Gita is spoken 5,000 years ago. When this discussion is happening, when this is happening? 5,000 years ago. 5,000 years ago, Bharat meant the entire world. The entire world was Bharat. Therefore, it's called Mahabharat, the story of Greater India. And if you actually go around the world, you will find traces everywhere. You'll find traces, right? The Greeks and all these people, all their languages actually originate from Sanskrit only. Everything originates from here. You go to Indonesia, you will still find remains of Indian temples, right? You go to all these places, you will find in Indonesia, all these cities are named after Ramayan, Hanumanji. You'll find so many traces everywhere across the world. You go to Egypt, you'll find connections here, right? You'll find it everywhere around the world. So India's influence was around the world. So this story was the story of the Greater India. And in those days, the ruler of Hastinapur, he was called Samrat. Samrat means emperor. See, there is king and there is emperor. See, there were small kingdoms everywhere, but the king of Hastinapur, Delhi, he was called Samrat, where he was the emperor of the entire world. All the kings would come and surrender to him. So the story is a long story, but to cut it short, it's like this. Actually, Mahabharata is a very interesting storyline. It's a very interesting storyline. Children these days, unfortunately, are taught histories which really make no sense. Akbar, Birbal, and all this. I mean, really, it has no sense at all. So this is the history that children actually need to know. So the story is like this, basically. The king of Hastinapur was called Shantanu Maharaj. Before that also there were many kings, but the Mahabharata storyline starts from here, Shantanu. So Shantanu falls in love with Ganga. Ganga, whose story we heard. Ganga, one time she comes as a person to earth also. She's cursed by some rishi in Swarga. And she's walking around in Hastinapur. And Shantanu sees her and falls in love with her. So Shantanu tells Ganga, let's get married together. So Ganga tells Shantanu, I'll get married to you, but have a condition. She puts a condition. The condition is, whatever I do, you should not question me. So whenever there is condition in a relationship, very difficult. Right? Relationship means unconditional. So she puts condition that whatever I do, you should not question me. So Shantanu was in so much love, he said, whatever, no problem, I want you, whatever the cost is. So they got married together. So when the first child was born, Ganga took the child and drowned it in her waters. So Ganga has a form also, and she's in the form of a river also. She took the first child and put it in water. Shantanu was mad, crazy lady, what she is doing. But he couldn't say anything. If he said anything, she would leave and go. He can't question. First child died. Second child born, Ganga did same thing. Third child, fourth child, same thing. So Shantanu couldn't take it. He just couldn't take it. So finally, when Bhishma was born, Bhishma's name was Devavrata. When Bhishma was born, Shantanu told Ganga, nothing doing, don't take this child. Ganga said, okay, keep the child, but I am leaving you. Because you questioned me, I am not going to stay. So Ganga leaves Shantanu and goes, and Shantanu is left alone. So through the combination of Ganga and Shantanu, Bhishma is born. And Bhishma is one central figure in the entire storyline of Mahabharata. So now Shantanu is alone. Shantanu, as a Kshatriya, he just couldn't be alone. He wanted some female companion. So one day as he was going out on a hunting excursion, he meets a girl called Satyavati. Satyavati was actually a fisherman, a girl of a fisherman folk. Uh, Her actual name was Matsagandha. From her body, the smell of fish would keep coming. So Shantanu falls in love with Satyavati and tells Satyavati, I want to get married to you. So Satyavati says, no, talk to my father. So Shantanu goes to the father of Satyavati and tells him, I want to get married. So this fellow puts two conditions. So the first thing he says is, my first condition is, the son of my daughter only should be the king. Because he knows that he already has a son, Bhishma. So he tells, the son of my daughter should be the king. So this Shantanu couldn't agree to, because the first son is Bhishma, so he can't ditch Bhishma basically. So Shantanu comes back. So when Bhishma comes to know, Bhishma is a young child, when Bhishma comes to know that my father wants to get married and this is the problem, I am the problem. So Bhishma goes to the father of Satyavati and Bhishma tells Satyavati, I promise you, I will not sit on the throne. Whoever is born from your daughter, he will only be the emperor, I will remain his servant. So Satyavati's father becomes very happy, but then he says, you are saying you will not sit on the throne, but your son will claim. So Bhishma takes a vow, I will never get married. So he sacrifices his marriage also for his father. So Shantanu and Satyavati get married. And through them, let me go back. Through them, 2 children are born. You are liking the storyline?
Yes.
Okay. 2 children are born. You see, sometimes it's important to understand histories. You know why? If you don't learn from histories, history repeats itself. So learning these histories is important so that we learn our lessons. Okay? So 2 children are born. Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. 2 children. Here also tragedy happens. See, Mahabharata, Ramayana and all these books show a very real picture. Life is not they lived happily ever after. That is in fantasy world. Life is not like that. Life means struggles. How do you deal with struggles is what our scriptures teach. So you'll find in Mahabharata, right from the beginning, complexities keep coming. So Bhishma, poor guy, he can't become the king. So 2 sons are born, Chitrangada, Vichitravirya. Chitrangada dies. Before his marriage only, he dies. Because there was another Gandharva, a demigod called Chitrangada. He came and fought with this fellow and he killed him. So Chitrangada died. The only guy who is left is Vichitravirya, who can sit on the throne. So now Bhishma, he goes to get girls to get married to Vichitravirya. Because see, Bhishma can't get married, but he took responsibility, let me get my co-brother married. My co-brother married. So for Vichitravirya, he brings 3 girls. Amba, Ambalika, Ambika. They were 3 sisters. He kidnaps them, style this is allowed, brings them and tells them, get married to my brother. 2 of them, Ambalika, Ambika agree. But Amba tells, I am already in love with someone else. She was already in love with a guy called Shalva. She says, I can't get married. So Bhishma, he sends Amba back. Okay, you go and get married to your lover. But that guy, he's not ready to take Amba. So he says, Bhishma, you touch this girl, I will not take her. Now Amba comes back. She doesn't want to get married to Vichitravirya. Her lover has rejected. So Amba tells Bhishma, I will marry you. Let's marry together. Bhishma says, I can't get married to you. I've taken a vow, I can't marry. So Amba is left nowhere. And then finally this Amba, it's a long story, she gives up her life and she comes back as Shikandi. And she's born only to kill Bhishma and take the revenge because she feels that Bhishma spoiled my life completely. You know. So that's the story of Amba. Okay. So Vichitra Veerya gets married to Ambalika. But it so happens that Vichitra Veerya also dies. He gets some disease and he dies untimely without any children. Now see this family. Shantanu died and he went. Shantanu is dead. Bhishma is the only male. He can't sit on the throne. The other two males, Chitrangada, Vichitra Veerya, dead. No children. So who'll rule? So this is Mahabharata. Questions everywhere. Yeah.
So Bhishma kidnapped these three girls.
Kidnap, matlab, it's called he won. So in Kshatriya style, there are different styles of marriage. One is called Gandharva style, Rakshasa style. So one style of marriage is a powerful Kshatriya, he just overpowers all the other Kshatriyas and takes the girls. Challenge type. So that's the mood. So he did this not for him, for his brother. But it led to complications there.
But in Kali Yuga, we could have taught Vichitra Veera a lesson or two. Any man having two wives at one time will die an early death.
Yeah, but in those days, Kshatriyas were allowed to have multiple women. Anyway, so this is a story of a different age, We can't apply exactly the situation, but the principles are there. You have to just understand the principles. Okay, so now you all are there with me till here? Okay, so now what happens? There is no heir to continue the kingdom. But there is a story, before Satyavati got married to Shantanu, she had come in combination with Parashar Muni, another rishi. And through them, Vyasdev was born. Before Satyavati's marriage to Shantanu. So now what they do is, they tell Vyasdev that you come and you beget children through Ambalika and Ambika, so that the lineage continues. So Vyasdev and Ambalika, Dhritarashtra is born through their combination, and Vyasdev and Ambika, Pandu is born. So this is the storyline. You are understanding? So here also see the complexity. So among the two, Dhritarashtra, Pandu, who is the eldest? Dhritarashtra. So general in Kshatriya lineage, the eldest son will become the king. But here the catch is, Dhritarashtra is born blind. Dhritarashtra is born blind, so he can't sit on the throne. So the throne goes to Pandu. Pandu becomes the king. So now it so happens that the story doesn't end here. Mahabharata continues, and it will always continue. So Pandu gets, and also through Vidura, through Vyasdev, Vidura is also born. Okay. So now Dhritarashtra gets married to Gandhari, and through them 100 sons headed by Duryodhana are born. Pandu gets married to two wives, Kunti and Madri. Through Kunti, 3 children, Yudhishthir, Arjun, Bhim, and through Madri, 2 children, Nakul, Sahadev. Now what happens is, Pandu also dies. So now, Pandu is supposed to be the king because Dhritarashtra is out because of he's blind. Pandu is the king. But it so happens that Pandu also dies. Pandu is dead and gone. Now the question comes, Dhritarashtra is left with his 100 children and 5 children of Pandu. So now who is supposed to be taking care? Dhritarashtra is supposed to be taking care of all the children. And who is supposed to be the king next? It is Yudhishthir who is supposed to be the king, because Pandu was the king, official coronated king. His eldest son Yudhishthir is supposed to be the king. But because now Pandu was not in the picture, and Dhritarashtra, we'll see more about Dhritarashtra's personality. Dhritarashtra's personality is a personality where you are always crying, complaining and blaming. So Dhritarashtra felt that injustice is done to me. I am born blind. I am born blind. And because injustice is done to him, he felt it like that. Life has been unfair on me. So he made life unfair for others. This is a completely wrong mindset. because you go through suffering, it doesn't mean that you inflict suffering on others. Rather, when you go through suffering, you should become more empathetic towards others. So Dhritarashtra should have been the guy who was taking care of all the children well, but Dhritarashtra from the beginning, he made this difference. My children are special. I don't care for the children of Pandus. And right from the beginning, he tried to eliminate these 5 children. Can you imagine? 5 children with one single mother. Kunti, Madri also died. One mother, widow lady with 5 children. And Dhritarashtra, instead of taking care of them, he is making plans to kill all of them. This is the storyline of Mahabharata. And it goes on, right? If you read Mahabharata, right from their childhood, so many plans. When the children were small, they tried to feed them poisonous cake. They sent them to a house in which made of wood just to burn them alive. So many plans done to kill them. But by Krishna's mercy, nothing happened to the Pandavas. Because, there's a beautiful verse which says, Rake Krishna mare Krishna rake ke. When Krishna protects someone, whatever you do, you can't kill him. And when Krishna has decided that someone has to die, whatever you do, you can't protect him. Right? Ultimately, Krishna's will is what works. So this guy, Dhritarashtra, tried his best. Nothing happened to the Pandavas. So now, So basically, this is the storyline of this blind king, Dhritarashtra, who wanted to inflict pain upon others. So therefore, this first shloka of the Gita, Dhritarashtra, now see, he's tried to eliminate the Pandavas in so many different ways. And finally, it goes to a place where the kingdom had to get divided into 2. Ideally, a kingdom can't get divided. But, Yudhishthir had to be the king on an official front. But Duryodhan, Dhritarashtra's son, was very adamant. He also wanted the kingdom. Now, what do you do? So, what Dhritarashtra initially did was, he said, Yudhishthir, you take one part of it, and he gave the major part of it to Duryodhan. He gave Yudhishthir a desert land, in a barren land, Banjar Zameen, which was called Kandava Prastha, barren land. But by Krishna's mercy, that barren land became more opulent than this land. It became Indraprastha. It became more opulent than even the abode of Indra. So Duryodhan got very envious. So what Duryodhan did along with his father, they arranged a gambling match. This is the storyline. They arranged a gambling match and they took everything away from the Pandavas and they sent these people away for 13 years exile. 13 years they threw them out of the kingdom. Imagine what the Pandavas had to go through. And after 13 years of exile, finally Krishna goes as the peace messenger and Krishna tells Dhritarashtra, whatever has done, you have done enough injustice, forget it. We will not get into fight, we don't want to get into a war. You give Pandavas 5 villages. Let your adamant Duryodhan keep everything. Give Pandavas 5 villages. Because they are also kings, they want to rule. Give them 5 villages. Duryodhan says, nothing doing. I will not give them anything. So then it eventually came to this point of war. Right. So we'll stop at this point here and we will continue this discussion the next time. So we will see how the different facets of this shloka and we will see a little about the personality of Dhritarashtra, the personality of Duryodhan, like that. Okay. Did you all like today's session? Yeah, Mahabharata and these books are so interesting that you can just keep going on and on. And these are things that actually children need to learn. If children learn about these personalities, the positive, negative personalities, now children will grow a lot.
There used to be comics, like I remember my mom used to do these comics on all these stories. Amar Chitra Katha. You get them still? I don't know.
Yeah, you get it.
That's how I learned, and we had to read them one every day and then tell the story to somebody else to remember.
Yeah. These are stories actually people should learn, children should learn. In our Vedic, I think I have mentioned this before also, in our Vedic India, before the British rule, education was based on these books. Through these books, real values were taught. Children were taught how they should be like Arjuna, how they should be like Yudhishthir, how they should not be like Duryodhan, not be like Dhritarashtra. These personalities were taught, and this is how through stories values were inculcated. See, to teach children you need stories. So stories are the best way in which you can inculcate values to children. So somehow children these days don't understand all these stories. So therefore the value system is missing in children. So we are trying to fill that gap basically through these classes. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So we'll meet next week. Anyone has any questions?